The black-haired man, Jing Shaoqi, presents a signed divorce application to his partner.
Yanzi Shu, the gray-haired artist, listens as Jing Shaoqi warns him that further entanglement will only cause him harm.
Amidst a quiet rustle of papers, Yanzi Xiu prepares to sign as the assistant Gu Shiyi watches the process.
The gray-haired man leaves a firm red fingerprint on the document to finalize his official consent.
Yanzi Shu stares blankly ahead, his expression remaining unreadable as the heavy moment settles in the room. Reaching into his white jacket pocket, Yanzi Xiu mentions he has one more important item to provide.
To Jing Shaoqi's confusion, Yanzi Xiu hands over his own version of a formal divorce application.
Yanzi Xiu declares their fate is over, wishes him well, and firmly rejects the $30 million compensation offer. Furious, Jing Shaoqi shouts Yanzi Xiu's name while forcefully crumpling the discarded document in his fist.
Gu Shiyi berates Yanzi Xiu for his alleged scheming, but Jing Shaoqi demands his assistant stop the insults. The president warns the artist not to regret this bold and impulsive decision in the future. Yanzi Xiu remains steadfast, asserting he will follow through on his words regardless of any upcoming obstacles.
As Jing Shaoqi departs, Gu Shiyi shouts for the artist to remember the words he said today.
Gu Shiyi sneers that if it were up to him, Yanzi Xiu wouldn't have received a single cent. Yanzi Xiu warns the assistant to stay indoors, predicting he will undoubtedly die within 5 days otherwise.
Gu Shiyi reacts with outrage while Jing Shaoqi dismisses the strange warning as they walk away together. A heavy stomp sounds as Gu Shiyi crushes the paper before the pair drives off in a car. Inside the moving car, the assistant laughs while asking if there's a problem bothering his cousin. Jing Shaoqi observes that Yanzi Xiu deliberately used a completely different font for his final signature.
Gu Shiyi mocks the artist's persistence, suggesting he should have applied such determination to his acting career.
The president recalls the 3 years of supposed scheming that he believes defined their entire marriage.
With a cold, determined gaze, Jing Shaoqi reaffirms that their marriage is officially at an end.
Now alone, the transmigrated master from the Xian dynasty reflects on his strange new life in this era.
A steady drip sounds as Yanzi Xiu resolves to master modern technology using the previous owner's memories.
The artist's manager, Li Fengji, enters the room calling out for Zi Shu in a concerned tone. Li Fengji acknowledges the divorce but promises the company will continue providing necessary work resources.
Yanzi Xiu surprises his manager by asking if his current talent agency contract can be terminated immediately.
Shocked, the manager asks if the artist truly intends to leave the entire entertainment industry behind forever.
Yanzi Xiu closes his eyes, considering the heavy weight of his new circumstances in the quiet room.
Li Fengji warns that breaking the contract and endorsements would cost 58 million RMB in penalties. After seeing a measly balance of 1,600 on his phone, Yanzi Xiu accepts he must keep working. Yanzi Xiu promises his manager that he will repay the company in full once he has enough money. The manager insists he must cooperate with the company's arrangements for now, and the artist agrees. With the manager gone, Yanzi Xiu meditates, planning to earn money for his redemption and future immortality.
He wonders where to find a wealthy client who is currently plagued by actual demonic forces.
3 days pass before a sudden, aggressive thudding sounds at the front door of the apartment. Jing Shaoqi bursts into the room, demanding to know what the artist has done to Gu Shiyi. The president reveals his cousin is unconscious in intensive care, but Yanzi Xiu reacts with genuine confusion.
Looking at his former husband, the artist simply and calmly states that he has done nothing wrong.
Jing Shaoqi accuses him of stalling, while Yanzi Xiu claims he understands the real reason for their divorce. To the president's shock, Yanzi Xiu insults him by calling him a person who is completely incapable.
The artist explains that Jing Shaoqi lacks the essential spirit of desire and cannot truly love anyone.
Yanzi Xiu suggests the president lacks virtue, prompting an enraged Jing Shaoqi to pin him against the wall.
A loud slap sounds as the president slams his hand beside Yanzi Xiu's head in a fit of fury.
Jing Shaoqi yells at him for the insults, while Yanzi Xiu reflects on the man's repulsive behavior. A low buzz sounds as the president wonders if this weird behavior is a play for his attention. After receiving an emergency call about his cousin, Jing Shaoqi leaves with a final warning for the artist. A formal directive confirms that Yanzi Xiu must be monitored 24 hours a day with immediate reporting. In the hospital, a doctor explains that Gu Shiyi suffered mysterious organ failure but was saved. Jing Shaoqi receives a call from the surveillance team currently assigned to watch his former husband's movements. Jing Shaoqi reads a report from his assistant about Yanzi Xiu's bizarre behavior, including biking for hours and digging in a pond.
A wobbly video shows the gray-haired man struggling to ride a bicycle through a quiet residential neighborhood.
Surveillance footage reveals Yanzi Xiu intensely digging a hole with a shovel in a landscaped garden bed. After being caught climbing a tree and fined, Yanzi Xiu appears unwilling to comply while the president questions his mental state. Staring intensely at the screen, Jing Shaoxi wonders if the recent divorce has actually caused his former husband to lose his mind. Yanzi Xiu arrives at the hospital covered in mud and grime, holding a bag of dirt as he greets the president's uncle. Jing Shaoqi is stunned by the artist's disheveled state while Yanzi Shi remains calm, prompting a series of serious questions. The gray-haired man confirms he predicted the cousin's death, claiming his foresight is a gift he can clearly see. Yanzi Xiu warns that preventing him from entering the room will ensure the young man's death, standing before a backdrop of lilies. A sudden loud bang echoes as Gu Jianfeng and Xia Palin arrive, immediately accusing the artist of harming their son. Yanzi Xiu ignores the insults and insists on saving the patient, despite the stepmother's frantic protests and demands to keep him away. The artist proposes that Jing Shaoxi accompany him inside, and the president decides to trust him for this one attempt. Jing Shaoqi grants a 15-minute window for the procedure, which Yanzi Xiu confidently declares is more than enough time for him. Gu Jianfeng reluctantly allows the attempt while Xia Pailin watches with a look of pure hatred and suspicion from the hallway. After securing the room and activating his mystical vision, Yanzi Xiu examines the unconscious man and detects a lingering demonic presence. With a focused command, the artist reveals a hidden, corrupted energy manifesting within the patient's own iris through his spiritual power. Yanzi Xiu stands ready to perform the exorcism as the president watches closely from a distance, curious about the artist's next move. To the president's shock, Yanzi Xiu abruptly pulls back the hospital bed covers to begin his strange and unconventional medical treatment. Ignoring the president's protests, the artist continues to strip the patient's clothing to prepare his body for the application of mud. Yanzi Xiu remains composed and tells the president to maintain his composure while he prepares the necessary materials for the ritual. The gray-haired man asks if the president has ever heard of a specific culinary dish before revealing his peculiar healing method. Yanzi Xiu instructs the stunned president to rub the patient's body with mud, comparing the process to preparing a seasoned chicken. Despite his intense reluctance and visible anger, Jing Shaoqi is forced to participate in the messy ritual under the artist's strict direction. While the president begrudgingly applies the mud, Yanzi Xiu draws complex spiritual talismans on the hospital floor to complete the setup. The artist compliments the president's application skills while his inner self craves a real meal after completing the exhausting spiritual work. Yanzi Xiu directs the president to a specific location in the room, maintaining a serious tone despite the absurdity of the scene. Following the artist's orders, Jing Shaoqi stands in the corner as Yanzi Xiu prepares to battle the powerful demonic force within. Channeling his spiritual energy, the transmigrated master prepares to perform a high-level exorcism technique to save the dying young man. Dark smoke billows from the mud-covered body as the exorcism begins, leaving Jing Shaoqi in absolute awe of the mystical display. The patient screams in agony as the evil spirit is forcefully extracted from his body in a cloud of thick, black energy. Yanzi Xiu commands the spirit to stop its resistance, holding a bottle of water as he successfully contains the malevolent entity. The president asks about the nature of the entity, while Yanzi Xiu explains it was an evil spirit that is now defeated. Yanzi Xiu reveals that the president's unique destiny naturally repels such dark forces, offering him a sense of security and protection. Jing Shaoqi is puzzled by his supposed special status while the patient on the bed begins to groan and show signs of recovery. The cousin finally wakes up and learns the artist saved his life, much to the relief and shock of his gathered family. Jing Shaoxi looks around the room in confusion, realizing the artist has already departed the scene without waiting for a thanks. Outside, the president finds Yanzi Xiu using a calculator to meticulously tally up various fees for his professional spiritual services. Yanzi Xiu explains he is calculating his service fee while the president stares at him with an unexpectedly warm and soft expression. The artist offers a funeral service package for the future, promising to personally fold paper offerings for the president after his death. Yanzi Xiu continues his pitch by promising to bribe the underworld messengers to make the president's transition to the afterlife much sweeter. Offended, the president asks if he is wishing for his death, but the artist simply states that everyone's time eventually runs out. Jing Shaoqi remains deep in thought, struggling to reconcile this new, mystical version of his former husband with the man he knew. The president offers to take him to dinner, and the artist agrees to eat chicken as they head toward the parked car. Inside the moving vehicle, Yanzi Xiu marvels at the comfort of modern technology before suddenly feeling a wave of intense physical discomfort. The artist's face pales as he mistakenly believes he has been poisoned, demanding the president hand over a non-existent antidote immediately. Shaking and trembling, Yanzi accuses the president of using crude and underhanded methods to target him during their short trip.
Jing Shaozi is irritated by the constant accusations, wondering if the artist is simply looking for an excuse to start another argument.
Overwhelmed by motion sickness, Yanzi shouts for the driver to stop the car so he can escape the suffocating iron shell.
The artist insists the toxicity is worsening and demands to be let out, unaware that his symptoms are merely a result of travel.
Tense car silence breaks when the black-haired man questions the artist's health.
He clarifies by asking if his former husband is simply suffering from car sickness.
Watching the artist's distress, the president wonders if their divorce damaged his mind.
The scene shifts as the president apologizes for his earlier misunderstanding over dinner. The gray-haired man stares down a whole chicken with focused, hungry determination. After accepting the apology, the artist prepares to dive into his long-awaited meal.
To the artist's surprise, the president uses his chopsticks to claim a chicken leg.
The artist happily reclaims the snack, embracing his inner fox while eating.
He explains the virtue of cherishing every morsel of food to the non-hungry president. The black-haired man watches him eat, finding himself agreeing with the artist's logic.
He wonders why he is listening to the artist again before parting for the night. The president orders the driver to open the window to help the artist's nausea.
They sit in a moment of quiet reflection before continuing their conversation. The artist offers a cryptic warning about a murderous threat lurking among the president's family.
2 days later, the manager briefs the artist on an upcoming music video shoot. Left alone, the gray-haired man prepares for his acting role with quiet focus.
He performs a mystical rite to summon a ghost to assist with his performance.
Transparent spirits manifest in the room, answering the master's call for professional help. A former host ghost offers his romantic expertise to handle the music video's acting. Seeing no better option, the artist hires the flamboyant spirit for the job. On the day of the shoot, the manager checks on the artist's preparedness. The artist confidently asserts his acting superiority while getting ready for the camera.
The production begins at a modern building location under a clear blue sky.
The manager advises him to be polite to the staff without being overly eager. The gray-haired man introduces himself to the cold and distant brown-haired diva.
Sensing her disapproval, the manager quickly directs the artist toward the makeup station.
Looking for a private moment, the artist heads toward the restroom to prepare.
He ensures he is completely alone before initiating the next phase of his plan. Speaking to his reflection, he makes a formal pact with the ghost to take over. The diva reflects on her high standards while doubting the artist's meager reputation. The crew is stunned as the artist arrives on set looking incredibly handsome. Shooting begins with the artist playing the role of a secret, youthful lover.
He delivers a magnetic performance that immediately draws the attention of the entire set.
A close-up captures the intense, soulful gaze of the artist's possessed performance. In character, the diva wipes sweat from his face as they film an intimate encounter.
The chemistry between them becomes palpable as they continue the emotional scene.
Staring into his eyes, the brown-haired woman feels her heart race for the camera. The director enthusiastically calls for a cut, praising the artist's unexpected talent. In the rain, the diva delivers a passionate confession while hugging the artist. He responds with a heartbreakingly sincere expression that leaves the actress truly dazed.
Overjoyed by the quality of the footage, the director rushes to film the finale.
The final scene depicts a tender moment in the snow between the two actors. They exchange lines about love and age as the artificial snow falls around them. The artist delivers a perfect romantic declaration that finishes the day's work. The director is ecstatic, calling the performance perfect as the diva stands paralyzed.
After releasing the ghost, the artist is surprised to find the president waiting outside.
The black-haired man demands he get into the car for another private meeting. They visit a medicinal restaurant where the artist enjoys a spread of traditional treats. The president takes a call from his cousin, who desperately seeks the artist's expertise. He returns to the table, preparing to ask the artist for another spiritual favor. The gray-haired man is caught by the black-haired president while trying to secretly give him food. Yanzi offers bamboo shoots to the president, claiming he needs to replenish his strength. The artist admits the food only fell on the table and he simply hates waste.
Jing Shaozi reminds him they are divorced, but the artist remains indifferent to the fact.
The black-haired man questions why the signature font changed, but Yanzi finds the truth impossible to explain. Yanzi insists he wants the divorce and points to the letter he wrote as proof. The artist encourages the president to find a new wife, leaving the man visibly confused. Yanzi wonders if he misspoke as the president stares at him with growing irritation. The gray-haired man watches as the president walks away from the dinner table in silence. A heavy bang sounds as the door closes, leaving Yanzi to finish the expensive meal alone. Standing outside the restaurant, the artist realizes he needs a steady source of income to survive. Yanzi Xie receives a phone call from his manager regarding a missing black Labrador. He meets with the brown-haired manager at the community to begin tracking the lost dog. Using his spiritual power over a food bowl, the artist begins a mystical search for the pet. Yanzi Shu calls out for the dog as he searches through the dark residential area. Back at home, Jing Shaoqi wonders why his former husband continues to make him so angry.
The president concludes that the artist must be mentally unstable to act so strangely lately.
He receives a message showing a video of Yanzi Xiu laughing while holding a dog bowl. A sudden, sharp realization hits the black-haired man as he stares at the screen. Yanzi Shu finds the dog and greets it warmly, relieved to have completed the task. The president suddenly appears behind him, calling out his name with a stern expression.
Grabbing his arm, Jing Shaoxi demands they go to a hospital to treat his supposed mental breakdown.
He offers the help of a psychiatrist, but the artist is offended by the suggestion of illness. Yanzi Shu is furious that the man believes he has lost his mind after their divorce.
A quick, sharp slap echoes as the artist tries to break away from the president's grip. Jing Shaoqi insists that now is not the time for the artist to hide his medical condition.
A loud thud sounds as Yanzi Xiu throws the large black dog directly at the president's face.
The stunned dog lets out a soft, confused woof while flying through the air. Furious, Jing Shaoqi asks why he threw a pet at him while the artist laments his poor aim. They argue over their current situation while the dog barks loudly between the two men.
Both men lose their patience and shout for the noisy black Labrador to stop barking immediately.
The manager arrives to collect the dog, and the president realizes the artist was merely working.
Yanzi Xiu thanks the manager for the help while the president stands back in quiet contemplation.
As they walk away, the manager wonders if the former couple is planning to remarry.
The president calls out to the artist again, who continues walking without looking back.
Jing Shaoqi mentions the unpaid service fee, causing the money-hungry artist to stop instantly.
Yanzi Xiu demands his payment, but the president refuses to pay until a new matter is settled. The artist's eyes glow with blue energy as he warns the president about the dangers of debt.
Unfazed by the mystical display, the black-haired man asks what the artist intends to do. Begrudgingly, Yanzi Xiu enters the car as they travel to the residence of the president's cousin.
Gu Shiyi greets them at the door, noting the strange temperature change inside his home. The cousin thanks Yanzi Xiu for coming and promises to pay triple for his services.
The artist huffs in annoyance as the black-haired president watches his every move closely.
Yanzi Xiu raises his feet to 10 times the original price before beginning a spiritual investigation.
He identifies a withered tree as an omen and mentions the cousin's sudden romantic restlessness.
The artist mocks the president's lack of romantic experience, claiming he will never know such joy.
A playful, devilish grin spreads across the artist's face while the president looks on in disbelief.
Jing Shaoqi asks if he is being provoked, but the artist dismisses the idea as pointless.
Yanzi Xiu insults the man's worthiness before the president reveals the signature on the divorce papers was fake.
The black-haired man leans in close, declaring that they are still legally husband and husband. Gu Shiyi is bewildered by the sudden talk of divorce while the two men face each other tensely. Jing Shaoxi snaps at his cousin for using the wrong title as they continue their heated argument. Gu Shiyi sweats as he confirms the president's cold nature to the indifferent gray-haired artist.
The artist's stride is steady as he walks toward a specific object to begin his investigation.
Yanzi Xiu holds a withered tree, identifying it as the source of a curse meant to cause accidents.
He explains the spiritual elemental conflict of wood killing the earth while his audience listens intently.
Chibi Yanzi Xiu realizes explaining complex feng shui is useless, so he simply warns of the giver's malice.
The artist identifies the culprit as Sha Peilin and schedules a summoning for the following day.
Yanzi Xiu commands the president to follow him, leaving the black-haired man confused by the sudden order.
At an antique market the next day, the artist searches for specific tools for his ritual. Jing Shaoqi is stunned as the artist successfully bargains a high-priced horsewhip down to a small fraction. The president is bewildered by the artist's intense thriftiness as they leave the shop together.
Yanzi Xiu worries he overpaid for the item, while the president regrets his earlier curiosity. They continue shopping for copper coins and gourds, driving the local merchant to tears with their bargaining.
Inside the car, Yanzi Xiu asks for details regarding the relationship between the cousin and the suspect.
Narrative text clarifies that the woman is the cousin's stepmother who had twins with his father. The artist concludes that the woman's motives are purely financial rather than based on any emotional love. They bicker in the car as the artist mocks the president's heartless personality during their final preparations. A mystical purple energy surrounds the horsewhip as the president holds it under the artist's close direction. Gu Shiyi explains he lured his stepmother over by faking an illness to set the artist's trap. Yanzi Xiu hands a protective copper gourd to the brown-haired cousin to ensure his safety. The artist begins his mystical preparations by hanging a mirror and channeling spiritual power through his fingers.
Glowing runes and symbols flare to life as Yanzi Xiu completes the complex spiritual setup. A knock at the door signals the arrival of the stepmother as the group prepares for action. Yanzi Xiu grabs the president's hand and leads him to a nearby hiding spot to stay unseen. Jing Shaoqi is struck by the serious and intense focus in the artist's eyes during the mission.
The president is caught staring at Yanzi Xiu, who flashes a knowing and playful smile in return.
Yanzi Xiu jokingly demands a payment fee if the man intends to keep staring at him. He calculates a ridiculous fee based on ancient currency values for the president's lingering gaze. Jing Shaoqi is baffled as the artist declares he will charge for all future looks as well. The president tries to reverse the logic, but the artist notes the man's undeniable handsomeness instead. Yanzi Xiu claims he has no improper thoughts before silencing the president to maintain their ambush.
Outside, the stepmother senses voices on the balcony, but the cousin successfully deflects her growing suspicion.
The president pulls the artist into a tight embrace to keep him hidden from the woman's view. Xia Peilin enters the room and immediately comments on the withered state of her gift plan. She masks her malice with a fake smile, suggesting the cousin is simply bad at keeping plants alive.
Yanzi Xiu initiates the trap, throwing coins as the woman senses a sudden and chilling change. The woman begins to panic as she feels a heavy, suffocating atmosphere pressing down on her.
A ghostly laugh echoes through the room, causing the woman to scream about a female intruder.
Gua Shiyi denies the claim, further isolating the terrified woman in her state of mounting paranoia.
A terrifying spirit with red eyes and bloodied clothes suddenly appears and gagged the woman.
Paralyzed with fear, the stepmother screams for help as the ghost looms over her with long claws. The overwhelming fear of the encounter causes the woman to faint instantly on the floor. The ghost turns toward the balcony where the artist is watching the entire scene unfold. Yanzi Xiu reassures the spirit that the president is not a threat to her existence. Chibi versions of the group oversee the fainted woman while the artist and president stand close together. Jing Shaoqi looks pensive as he tries to process the supernatural events he just witnessed. Driven by terror, the woman confesses her plot to eliminate the cousin's children for the inheritance.
She mutters about her murderous intent, confirming her role in the family's sudden string of misfortunes.
The artist concludes that her current suffering is the inevitable karmic price for her evil deeds. Yanzi Xiu claims he is only working for the money as they wrap up their current business. In a chibi scene, the artist instructs a lingering spirit to remain with its current companion.
A quick rip sounds as a hand peels a spiritual talisman from the surface of a door. The brown-haired man asks for confirmation regarding the claim that his brother has a short lifespan. He questions why his brother must suffer when he is innocent of any wrongdoing in his life.
Yanzi Xiu explains that the lack of a complete soul makes the man's imperial destiny a fatal burden.
The artist notes that while fate can indeed be changed, such an act requires a massive sacrifice.
Despite the promise of unlimited wealth, the artist firmly declines the request to restore the missing soul.
Jing Shaoqi watches silently from a distance as the artist prepares to walk away from the area. Encountering the artist again, the president asks why he has not yet departed for his own home. Yanzi Xiu reminds him about the lucky charm he provided to prevent any further spiritual misfortune.
The artist is stunned to see a notification for a 1 million yuan payment appear on his phone screen. In a chibi moment, the artist is absolutely ecstatic about the sudden influx of money into his account. With a bright smile, the artist expresses his sincere thanks to the president for the generous payment. Jing Shaoqi clears his throat, asking if the financial gain has truly made his companion that happy. In a chibi scene, the president commands the artist to accompany him back to the corporate headquarters.
The scene shifts to the main office as a hand holds a document titled as a divorce agreement.
Jing Shaoqi notes the previous signature was incorrect, but the artist claims an injury prevents an exact match. The assistant in the suit begins to offer a suggestion to resolve the issue with the paperwork. He explains that recording a video of the signing process will ensure the agreement remains legally valid.
Jing Shaoqi agrees to the recording as the artist stares down at the document with a heavy silence.
The signing is finally complete, and the artist prepares to leave after their formal legal separation. Yanzi Xiu offers his professional services to find an auspicious date for the president's future remarriage.
In a chibi scene, the artist jokingly offers a half-price discount for a second marriage ceremony.
The president dismisses the idea of an invitation while the artist notes it would strain their friendship. Alone in the sprawling city, the artist wanders through the streets as a light rain begins to fall.
Feeling adrift, Yanzi Xiu laments the loss of the title he once shared with his spiritual masters.
A street promoter offers dim sum, and the artist asks if they sell traditional water caltrop candy.
Sitting on a stone ledge in the rain, the artist holds a small bag containing 11 candies. The gray-haired man stares blankly into the distance as the cold rain soaks into his white coat.
He begins to cry while dedicating the simple treats to the memory of his master and brother.
A soft drip sounds as the artist eats the candy alone in the center of the darkening city. Overwhelmed by sudden grief and loneliness, the artist breaks down into quiet, painful sobs in the rain.
Realizing his bag of candy is empty, he cries out for his master to pick him up again.
Tears stream down his face as he sits completely vulnerable and exposed to the worsening weather.
The artist hunches over in absolute despair, a solitary figure against the gray backdrop of the city.
The sound of splashing footsteps approaches the grieving man through the wet, puddle-filled streets. A black umbrella suddenly shields the artist from the rain as Jing Shaozi stands protectively over him.
The president questions why the artist agreed to the divorce if it has caused him such profound sadness.
Looking up with tear-filled eyes, the artist is visibly startled by the man's sudden, silent appearance.
Jing Shaoqi offers a handkerchief while the artist tries to deny the depth of his emotional state.
The president firmly catches the artist's wrist, refusing to let him flee into the shadows of the rain.
Yanzi Shu whispers the man's name as they lock eyes in the quiet, rain-slicked street.
In a chibi scene, the artist wipes his face while the president looks on with visible concern. Jing Shaoqi shows a flash of annoyance and frustration as the artist looks at him with confusion. A chibi sequence shows the pair arriving at a luxury hotel to finally escape from the storm. Jing Shaoqi makes a phone call to order a custom-tailored suit for the artist to be delivered immediately.
Inside the hotel room, the president tells the artist to go and take a warm, relaxing bath.
In a chibi scene, the artist obediently heads toward the bathroom while the president watches over him. Standing in the shower, Yanzi is completely baffled by the complex array of modern control buttons. Shivering from the cold, the gray-haired artist laments the freezing temperature of his bath.
The artist calls out to the president, who notes his former husband's strange scholarly speech.
Yanzi asks for help adjusting the water, much to the black-haired man's annoyance.
The president dismisses the request as a clumsy attempt at seduction before leaving the room.
Confused by the sudden departure, the artist wonders why the man reacted with such hostility.
A splash sounds as the artist gives up and finishes his shower in misery.
Shivering in his robe, Yanzi receives a clean white shirt from the persistent president.
The artist nearly faints upon seeing the exorbitant price tag on the designer garment.
He refuses the expensive gift, preferring to wait for his own damp clothes to dry.
The president mentions the massive morning wire transfer, leaving the artist in contemplative silence.
Yanzi insists that funds for spiritual work must never be spent on frivolous luxuries. The manager calls to check in, but the artist remains focused on his current surroundings.
A sudden silence falls as the artist mentions being at a hotel with his ex-husband. The president is outraged by the implication, while the artist remains blissfully unaware of the misunderstanding.
Jing Shaozi seethes with anger as he stares into the artist's clear and innocent eyes.
Frustrated, the black-haired man realizes his usual sarcasm fails against such a pure, honest gaze.
Without another word, the president turns and strides away from the bewildered gray-haired man.
The artist decides to be patient with the wealthy man whose life seems tragically short.
At home, Yanzi films a cheerful promotional video to celebrate a social media anniversary.
Manager Lee asks about his acting career, but the artist prefers spiritual work over show business.
Relieved that work is finished, the hungry artist eagerly looks forward to his next meal.
The gray-haired man enjoys a simple bowl of rice in the quiet comfort of home.
A sudden ringtone interrupts his dinner, and he sighs at the sight of the president's name.
Jing Shaoqi demands the artist meet his returning parents, offering a driver for the morning. Yanzi tries to decline due to work, but the president insists on a postponement. The artist's resolve wavers when the black-haired man offers $500,000 for his time. Despite the tempting offer, he stays loyal to his manager and abruptly ends the call. A satisfied burp escapes the artist as he prepares a spiritual talisman after his meal. A translucent male spirit appears, and Yanzi politely asks for the ghost's name. The spirit identifies himself as Jin Qi and expresses a desperate wish to see someone. Yanzi warns that lingering for love risks turning the spirit into a wandering lost soul. The scene shifts to a bustling film set where the production crew is hard at work. Under the bright studio lights, the artist delivers a passionate and deeply romantic performance.
The camera captures his emotive acting as he begs a partner not to ignore him.
Manager Lee is startled by the sudden and unexpected appearance of the stern-faced president.
Both men exchange stiff greetings, their cold demeanors mirroring one another perfectly on the set. The president confirms he is there for the artist as the manager watches on nervously. The shoot ends abruptly as Yanzi spots his ex-husband and flees the studio.
Jing Shaozi roars for him to stop, his body radiating an intense, crackling purple energy.
A heavy thud sounds as the artist ducks into a private break room to hide.
The president catches him, his hand glowing with mystical energy as he grips the artist's arm.
Cornered against the door, Yanzi Xiu struggles as the furious man demands to know why he ran. The invisible spirit complains about the president's oppressive energy while the artist demands proper behavior. A sharp snap sounds as the president's temper flares during their heated, close-quarters confrontation. Jing Shaoqi releases his grip, looking frustrated by the artist's stubborn and distant attitude.
Yanzi Xiu asks if the massive payment offer is still valid before agreeing to leave. Thinking of the profit, the artist decides that making money is a worthy spiritual endeavor.
The president scolds his money-hungry nature and demands he stop using such archaic, scholarly speech. The artist promises fewer funeral offerings for the man as they arrive at the mansion.
Uncle Yang greets the couple at the estate while the president issues a final warning.
Yanzi Xiu and Jing Shaoxi stand together as they prepare for the arrival of the older man's parents.
A servant announces the arrival of the master and madam, prompting the black-haired man to greet his parents.
Jing Fengyi and Xie Wanyin make their entrance, and the woman immediately pulls Yanzi Xiu into a warm surprise embrace.
The artist and president look visibly nervous when the woman excitedly announces she will cook dinner for everyone.
The gray-haired man is confused by the pair's intense dread toward the prospect of the woman's home-cooked meal.
Sensing an impending disaster, the president urges the artist to go into the kitchen and assist his mother.
Yanzi Xiu watches as the woman begins her chaotic cooking, mindful that he is only there because of the large payment.
The president attempts to stop his mother from cooking, but she insists that her son loves her food more than anything.
Xi Wanyin reminds the artist to wear the special pajamas she brought for him and the president to wear tonight.
As a pot sizzles ominously in the background, the woman mentions she will get the gifts from her suitcase later. A frantic cry sounds as the group realizes they need to save the burning chicken wings immediately.
Yanzi Xiu takes charge of the kitchen, expertly chopping vegetables and frying chicken wings to save the meal.
The artist finishes the dish with a practiced hand, carefully seasoning the food to ensure the sauce thickens perfectly. After the meal, the woman presents 2 gift boxes and eagerly encourages the men to open them and see the contents. The artist and president look into their respective boxes, their expressions becoming increasingly bewildered by what they see.
They reveal matching animal-themed pajamas, and the president quickly agrees to try them on to please his mother.
Xi Wanyin watches with delight as the 2 men head toward the changing room with their new outfits.
Inside the cloakroom, chibi versions of the pair stand ready to change into the childishly cute animal print pajamas.
Yanzi Xiu intends to leave after dinner, but the president offers even more money for a spiritual service to keep him there.
The 2 men emerge wearing the matching bear and rabbit pajamas, looking thoroughly embarrassed as the mother compliments the fit.
The artist notes how much warmer and gentler the president behaves while in the presence of his mother. Chibi versions of the group sit around the table as the mother cheerfully announces that it is time to eat.
Jing Fengyi is pleasantly surprised to find that there is actually a dish on the table he can enjoy.
The artist and president share a quiet moment over the meal as they both reach for the same glazed chicken wing.
Xi Wanyin remarks on how much her son likes the artist's cooking before telling the man to feed Yanzi Xiu some fruit.
The artist is caught off guard as the president leans in and feeds him a piece of cantaloupe with a smile.
Yanzi Xiu chews the fruit with a look of silent irritation, though he maintains his composure for the sake of the parents.
The gray-haired man thanks the woman for the sweet fruit, bringing a joyful smile to her face. Xi Wanyin gazes at the artist with a soft and affectionate expression as the evening winds down. Chibi versions of the family finish their dinner, though the father looks a bit emotional as the meal ends.
Later that night, the woman pulls the artist aside to ask if the president has been treating him well.
She is shocked to learn that the artist still calls her son by his full name, even after several years of marriage. The mother advises the artist to be more tender, claiming her son secretly wishes to be called by a sweet nickname. She shares that her husband was the same way when he was younger, and encourages the artist to give it a try.
A knock sounds as the 2 women find the president and his father sitting together in the study.
Xi Wanyin enters the room and asks her husband if he has finished his conversation with their son.
Chibi Xie Wanyin cheers from the sidelines, giving the artist the confidence to attempt the nickname.
The artist suddenly addresses the president as Sweet Potato, leaving the black-haired man completely stunned by the bizarre choice.
A heavy silence falls over the study as the group processes the ridiculous nickname the artist just used.
Baffled by the outburst, the president asks the artist if he is feeling sick after using such a strange address. The artist explains the logic behind the sweet and fragrant nickname, though the president remains unimpressed. Xi Wanyin tells the couple to head back to their room and rest for the night. After saying goodnight to the parents, the president demands a reasonable explanation for the sweet potato incident. Jing Shaoqi scolds the artist and tells him to stay away from his mother from now on.
Yanzi Xiu coldly replies that he only remains in the house because of the president's financial contributions.
A sharp click sounds as the president watches the artist silently prepare a separate place to sleep in the room.
The black-haired man tells the artist to be aware of his place, prompting a dismissive response from the gray-haired man.
The president snaps that this is his home, but the artist notes he should be more courteous to his paying guest.
An overhead view shows the two men sleeping in separate beds in the dark, quiet room.
Staring into the dark, the artist laments the depletion of spiritual energy in this unforgiving world. Yanzi looks out the window, noting the full moon is perfect for absorbing spiritual essence. The artist sits in a meditative pose on the floor to begin his moonlit cultivation. Wisps of blue light appear, but the gray-haired man stops in surprise as they drift away.
He is baffled to see the spiritual energy flowing directly into his sleeping ex-husband instead.
Yanzi approaches the bed, wondering how a mortal could intercept the essence of the moonlight. The artist leans over the sleeping man to inspect where the spiritual energy has gathered.
A sudden grab sounds as Jing wakes and pins the artist's wrists to the bed.
The president accuses him of being shameless, while the artist demands his stolen essence back.
Yanzi checks the man's mouth for any lingering traces of the spiritual energy. Jing feels an unusual, refreshing warmth spreading through his body despite his confusion. The president demands to know what he was fed, but the artist insists the energy was stolen. Jing scoffs at the artist's claims, pointing out he was fast asleep the whole time.
A sharp thud echoes as the artist's knee hits the frame during their heated scuffle. The artist remains in a compromising position as the president shouts his name in fury.
Fed up, the black-haired man grabs the artist's collar and orders him to leave immediately.
Yanzi calmly clarifies he is only leaving because it was requested by his host.
The gray-haired man offers a cold and polite goodbye, ready to end this troublesome night.
Yanzi prepares to depart while the president's phone begins to buzz on the bed.
The artist finds himself trapped when he realizes the mansion's doors have been securely locked.
Jing stares into space, his mood souring further despite the refreshing energy he felt earlier.
The president catches up to the artist, frustrated that his guest cannot even leave properly. A rhythmic beep sounds as the black-haired man enters the security code for the digital lock.
Yanzi finally steps out into the night air, bidding a final farewell to the man.
The artist advises the president to forget the confusing spiritual incident and never mention it again.
A loud bang sounds as the artist delivers a frustrated kick to the heavy front door.
Yanzi rants about heartless gentry, his face flushed with a mix of anger and embarrassment.
Chibi parents look on in total shock at the artist's uncharacteristic and loud outburst.
The father demands a clear explanation for why the two are quarreling so late at night.
Yin pulls the artist aside, worried her son has done something to make him unhappy.
The gray-haired man sighs and takes full responsibility for the confusing misunderstanding.
Jing sulks while the artist admits his fault to the concerned mother.
The artist begins a bizarre explanation about sweet potatoes, but the president silences him with a shout. Jing tells his father to talk upstairs and forbids the artist from leaving the house.
The older man insists on a full explanation regarding what was swallowed between the two men. Yanzi insists the president took the essence that should have remained in his own body.
The parents are stunned as the pair continues to argue about being on top of each other.
Jing looks mortified as the conversation becomes increasingly misunderstood by his parents. The artist complains that nothing was left for him, further confusing the older couple's interpretation.
A heavy silence follows before the father sternly orders his son to join him in the study.
Yin tries to soothe the artist, happy to see their relationship seems to have improved. Yanzi observes the mother's face, noting her features contradict her son's predicted tragic fate.
He explains her round features indicate a prosperous life, surprising the brown-haired woman with his insight.
The artist offers to show her a bit of magic to distract her from the evening's chaos.
Yanzi asks the woman to close her eyes for the start of the demonstration.
A sharp glint appears in the artist's blue eyes as he prepares his spiritual energy.
In the study, the father questions his son about the artist's new and miraculous behavior.
Jing admits the artist saved a life but states he is still investigating the cause.
The older man asks for a final confirmation on whether the artist agreed to the divorce. The president confirms the signature, his gaze remaining steady as they discuss the ending marriage.
A soft rustle sounds as the spiritual paper doll comes to life in the woman's hand.
The spiritual paper doll springs to life with a soft, magical glow.
The mother is startled as the president enters the room and questions the commotion.
The woman explains the artist was just entertaining her before suggesting they all head to bed.
Yin warmly promises to cook a delicious breakfast for the artist in the morning.
While the president remains dismissive, the artist quietly announces his intention to leave later that night.
Before departing, the gray-haired man advises the president to move a plant for better ventilation.
Yanzi Xiu bids a formal farewell while the president insists on escorting him back home. The next morning, a vibrating buzz sounds as the president receives a report about the artist.
Jing Shaoqi orders his bodyguard to follow the artist closely after seeing photos of him hiking. The president grows increasingly confused as his bodyguard reports the artist is digging near various trees. A surveillance photo shows the artist focused on digging into the soil at a tree's base. Yanzi Xiu looks pleased as he finally unearths the specific item he was searching for.
The bodyguard continues his updates, noting the artist is now having stones polished at a shop. Jing Shaoqi is impressed to learn the artist successfully bargained for the price of a string. A loud ring sounds as the president receives a call from the artist waiting in his office.
In the office, the gray-haired man presents a gift he prepared specifically for the president's mother.
The president realizes the gift is the same cheap stone the artist found while digging earlier.
Infuriated, Jing Shaoqi asks if the artist truly expects his mother to wear such a common item.
Yanzi Xiu looks away in silence, appearing slightly embarrassed by the harsh questioning of his gift.
Staring at his guest, the president notes that the artist seems genuinely uncomfortable looking at the bracelet.
The artist nervously clarifies that he has no hidden motives behind giving the gift to the mother.
A heavy silence fills the office as the black-haired man processes the artist's unexpected and defensive response.
Jing Shaoqi asks if the artist would stay if he were poor, but Yanzi Xiu dismisses the idea.
Chibi versions of the pair continue their bickering as the artist waves off the president's hypothetical question.
The artist explains the bracelet will protect the mother and her unborn child from a looming calamity.
Stunned by the news of the pregnancy, the president can only watch as the artist says goodbye.
At the family villa, the mother teases her husband for being so nervous about their new child.
Jing Shaoqi realizes with a start that the artist's prediction about the pregnancy was completely accurate.
The president reflects on how much the artist has changed and helped him during this chaotic time.
Approaching his parents, the black-haired man prepares to give his mother the artist's protective gift.
Jing Shaoqi presents the bracelet, telling his mother that the artist went through a lot of trouble.
The mother happily asks her husband for his opinion on the beautiful new piece of jewelry.
Following the artist's instructions, the president warns his mother never to take the bracelet off.
During an important board meeting, a sharp ping sounds as the president's phone receives a new alert.
Jing Shaoqi ignores his colleagues, his attention completely captured by the latest news about the artist. The bodyguard reports that the artist has gone to the cemetery alone, causing the president more concern.
A surveillance photo captures the artist in an intimate embrace with another man in the park.
Infuriated by the photo, the president clenches his teeth as he stares at the screen in disbelief.
Flashback scenes reveal the artist's noble intention to protect the mother from a tragic fate. Yanzi Xiu explains that the spiritual power of the bracelet is meant to ensure the woman's safety.
A soft gasp sounds as the artist wakes from his meditation to find a spirit waiting.
The spirit asks if today is a memorial day, and the artist agrees to take him there.
The pair arrives at the quiet cemetery to pay their respects to a long-lost soul.
They find another man standing silently before the grave they intended to visit.
The artist asks the spirit about his relationship with the grieving man standing at the headstone.
The spirit claims they were just friends, but the grave clearly marks him as the husband.
The translucent figure is visibly shaken by the revelation of a marriage he never knew about.
A soft rustle sounds as the artist places a bouquet of flowers on the tombstone. The man at the grave introduces himself as a classmate who came to visit his old friend.
The artist is left speechless when the man reveals he was actually the deceased person's husband.
The brown-haired man with glasses claims that marrying him was entirely his own decision. The translucent black-haired spirit argues he's already dead, but the man questions his self-worth. The brown-haired man admits his love, seeing the tragic situation as his only chance. Looking down in sorrow, the spirit dejectedly says he is not good enough.
The spirit insists he doesn't deserve such devotion, but the man asks for a reunion.
Both men look stunned as the brown-haired man's request hangs in the air.
The man begs for a way to see him, while the spirit refuses the sacrifice.
Yanzi Xiu offers a small bottle, instructing the man to apply the dew inside.
Calling out a name, the man wipes his eyes while holding his glasses aside. The spirit begs him to stop, but the artist warns him to keep his eyes closed.
The black-haired spirit looks on with tearful eyes, visibly shaken by the man's dedication. Realizing he can see him, the man cries out in joy while touching the spirit's face. Chibi Yanzi Xiu pushes the spirit toward the man, encouraging them to finally speak.
The brown-haired man pulls the spirit into a tight, emotional embrace at the grave.
A sudden, sharp click sounds as a smartphone captures a photo of the intimate moment.
A rhythmic ding-dong chime echoes as the artist wonders who is at the door.
Yanzi Xiu opens the door to a furious Jing Shaoqi, who questions his timing.
Chibi Jing Shaoqi suspiciously asks if he's interrupting, leaving the chibi artist feeling completely confused.
The president is outraged to see a stranger in casual clothes preparing a meal. After the artist introduces his ex-husband, the stranger politely invites the president for dinner.
Jing Shaozi glares at the man's hand, his irritation peaking when he spots a ring.
Chibi Jing Shaozi fumes with jealousy, suspecting the two have secretly married behind his back.
The president agrees to stay, delivering an aggressively firm handshake to the brown-haired man.
Chibi Jinki whimpers in pain while the spirit tries to soothe his crushed hand.
During dinner, the president mentions the gift's success while the artist questions his true motives.
Jing Shaoqi watches the other pair closely, noting their lack of interaction during the meal.
The president grows suspicious of the distant behavior between the artist and his supposed guest. Eating quietly, Jing Shaozi wonders if the man is simply holding back because of him.
Chibi Jing Shaoqi eats with a grumpy expression, his inner wolf sulking in the background.
A few empty bowls sit on the table as the awkward dinner concludes. The artist suggests the president leave, but Jing Shaozi demands to know their nightly plans.
A blunt response about going to sleep hangs in the air, fueling further misunderstanding.
Jing Shaoqi is visibly stunned and offended by the bold and casual mention of sleeping.
The president reminds the artist they only divorced a week ago, questioning his lack of propriety.
Yanzi Xiu remains perfectly calm, stating there is absolutely nothing inappropriate about his current living situation.
As the brown-haired man tries to intervene, the two continue their heated, jealous bickering.
They argue about the nightgown incident, with the president dismissing the artist's claims as excuses. Yanzi Xiu calls him a bitter gourd, mocking his pettiness and lack of sweet character.
The president accuses him of wanting him dead, but the man reveals he's been married.
Jing Shaoqi stares intensely at the man's wedding ring, his anger replaced by utter confusion. The president is horrified, accusing the man of messing with his ex-partner while being married.
A cheerful ding-dong chime sounds as an assistant bursts in to announce a rare audition.
The newcomer stops dead in his tracks, noting the trio's incredibly strange and tense expressions. The man in the hoodie ignores the tension to explain the importance of the audition. A loud thud sounds as the assistant realizes he has once again arrived at the worst time. The brown-haired man awkwardly excuses himself to the bedroom, leaving the artist to handle things.
Yanzi Shu clarifies the man is just a friend's husband staying over for a short time.
Chibi assistant sighs in relief, glad to hear there isn't a scandalous affair going on.
The gray-haired man sighs, frustrated that the president is making a scene for no reason.
Yanzi Xiu asks about the film's investment, confirming it is backed by a major company. Yanzi Xiu declines the audition, but the brown-haired man encourages him to take the opportunity.
The artist explains he isn't upset, he just doesn't want to owe the president anything. Chibi Jin Ki complains about his own troubles, urging the artist to attend the audition.
Chibi Yanzi finally agrees to go, putting an end to the small argument. The group travels together as they search for someone to play the role of the son.
An older actor on set is eager to meet the person playing the crown prince.
Yanzi Shu arrives in traditional costume and introduces himself to the veteran actor.
The veteran actor welcomes him, hoping they have a good experience working together.
A loud shout sounds as filming begins, but the director finds the artist's performance too flat. The elder actor delivers a dying speech, advising the prince to find a peaceful life. Yang Zixiu's performance suddenly intensifies as he begs his master not to die.
Narrative text conveys a promise that the master will always watch over him. Immersed in the role, the artist realizes he was lied to about a past loss.
Crying with raw emotion, the artist laments his lack of a home and family.
The veteran actor is stunned by the depth of grief shown in the artist's performance.
Tears stream down the artist's face as he remains trapped in his character's sorrow.
Jing Shaoqi catches the artist as he suddenly faints during the emotional scene. A close shot shows the president's hand gripping the artist's dark patterned sleeve. A glowing aura surrounds the pair while the president holds the unconscious artist.
A heavy thud sounds as both men fall to the floor together, confusing the crew.
Yanzi Shu wakes up first and looks down at the still unconscious president. A swift rustle sounds as the artist carries the president away with incredible speed. Back at a hotel, Yanzi Xiu wonders why the president's aura is on them.
The artist explains the president fainted from aura loss and must be awakened.
Reaching out, the gray-haired man prepares to use his power to help the president.
The artist sits over the bed, focusing his attention on the unconscious man.
Chibi Yanzi Xiu finds his outfit troublesome and begins to unbutton the president's shirt.
The artist performs a spiritual seal as a purple glow emanates from his hands.
Jing Shaoqi wakes up and asks why the artist is using mysterious hand signals.
The president questions the reason for the artist's physical contact this time.
A chibi depiction shows the artist sitting on the president's lap as energy fades.
Chibi Yanzi looks annoyed, calling the president a truly troublesome person.
Jing Shaozi mocks the artist's excuses, but the man denies having any sensual desires. A soft ping sounds as Chibi Jing Shao-chi argues the artist's actions don't match his words. The artist tells the president he has an impure mind while he gets dressed.
Chibi Jing Shao-chi watches with a blush, noting he bought the shirt the artist wears.
The president asks if the artist truly believes his mind is impure.
Recalling past insults, the president challenges the artist to judge his humanity again. Jing Shao-chi grabs the artist's wrist and pulls him closer, offering a trial.
A sharp thud sounds as the president suddenly pushes the artist back onto the bed.
The president looms over the artist, his gaze intense as he corners him. Leaning down, the black-haired man moves closer to the flustered artist's face.
Jing Shaozi pulls the artist into an embrace, saying he has accepted his fate.
Chibi Yanzi Xiu reacts with shock, questioning the president's bold behavior.
Narrative text explains the artist's belief that his observations about the president are correct.
A loud rip sounds as the president warns the artist not to beg for mercy later.
The artist grabs the president's collar, reminding him of the shirt's high price.
Jing Shaoqi asks the artist why he cares so much about the situation.
The artist asks why he wouldn't care, looking visibly frustrated with the president.
Chibi Yanzi Xiu admits he hates seeing the expensive shirt he bought get wasted.
Jing Shaozi offers to buy a replacement shirt, but the chibi artist angrily rejects the idea.
A rhythmic ding-dong chime echoes as the two men look up in surprise.
An assistant reports a discovery while Yanzi Xiu questions the identity of the late-night visitors.
The president glares with irritation as the man with glasses enters the room.
Jing Shaoqi delivers a stern warning to the visitor while standing protectively near the artist.
Gu Jichuan questions their relationship status, while the chibi artist demands to know his motive.
The brown-haired man shows a profile of an actor claiming they found a ghost. Gu Jichuan identifies the bound soul while Yanzi Xiu checks for a violent aura. The spirit is harmless, leading Yanzi Xiu to suspect a deliberate soul-trapping spell.
A series of rhythmic da-da footsteps sounds as the group moves to investigate the situation.
Chibi Jing Shaozi fumes with jealousy, complaining that the artist abandoned him for Gu Jichuan.
Yanzi Xiu confronts the spirit at night, asking for his name and purpose.
Noting the soul's fragility, Yanzi Xiu reaches out to touch the spirit's head with power.
The translucent spirit explains that he was able to communicate normally during the day.
A sharp magical Zhang activation sounds as the artist's eye begins to glow blue.
Yanzi Xiu stands silently under a willow tree while observing the translucent spirit.
Looking at the surroundings, the artist determines they cannot relocate the soul tonight.
A soft, quick ding chime sounds as the group finally exits the hotel elevator.
The president waits cross-armed while Chibi Gu Jichuan nervously excuses their late-night excursion.
Both men face each other, declaring they have important matters to discuss immediately.
5 minutes later, the artist hands over clothing and tells the president to change. Chibi versions of both men grunt with effort while putting on matching animal-themed hoodies. A repetitive do-do-do ringing sounds as a smartphone displays an incoming video call. They discuss their arrangement and payment while the president's mother calls out their names. Jing Shaoqi pulls the artist close for the video call, greeting his mother. The mother on the screen expresses concern, asking if the artist feels unwell.
A close-up shows the woman on the video call looking intently at the pair.
Jing Shaoqi offers reassurances while the flustered artist avoids looking at the screen.
A sudden heavy doorstep sounds as the mother questions the president's strange behavior.
The black-haired man suggests his parents should rest because it is getting late.
When asked if they had a fight, the president denies it and seeks the artist's confirmation.
A crackling shock sound echoes as the mother suggests they share a kiss for her.
Both men stare at each other intensely, challenging the other to make a move. The two men maintain locked eye contact, neither one willing to break the tension. A close view captures the intense, unwavering gaze between the president and the artist. Jing Shaozi tells the phone not to move while his mother suspects a bad signal.
A final, sharp de-beep sounds as the president abruptly ends the video call.
Both men turn away in annoyance, with the artist delivering a grumpy humph.
Yanzi Xiu dismissively tells the president to go back to sleep.
A light, rustling sha-sha sound comes from the willow tree as the artist stands outside. The artist reaches his hand out toward the darkness under the large tree.
A repetitive sha-sha rustle sounds as the artist parts the leaves to see the spirit.
A quick, sharp schwa movement sounds as the artist holds a leaf between his fingers.
Yanzi Xiu announces that an agreement is set and he will handle the spirit himself.
A heavy metallic ka-thud sounds as a shovel is driven into the night soil. Calling in the middle of the night, Yanzi Xiu asks for the president's birth details. Chibi Jing Shaozi fumes with rage, offended by the late-night call for such information. The president provides his birth date while the artist prepares to give him a warning. A series of busy do-do-do beeps sounds as the artist hangs up after his warning. A soft scratching sound rustles as the artist buries a packet in the ground. The gray-haired man stands alone in the night, staring at the mysterious red markings carved into the thick bark of a tree. Turning away from the tree, the artist focuses his power until a swirling orange light forms a supreme edict in his palm. A soft sha-sha-sha rustle sounds from the willow leaves as a single word declares the spiritual seal is finally broken.
A translucent spirit with glasses emerges from the shadows, his expression hollow and distant as he drifts through the night.
Holding a glowing orange orb, Yanzi notes the spirit's soul is incomplete and offers to help him seek revenge if the spirit helps him act. A firm finger presses the doorbell before the black-haired president opens the door, looking visibly annoyed by the late interruption.
The artist offers a small leaf, prompting the president to question why he brought a leaf after giving him a stone last time.
Jing complains about being woken up for a tree leaf, dismissively calling the artist's gifts a collection of junk.
Yanzi tells him to keep the leaf as a life extender, explaining he doesn't want their recent divorce to lead to rumors of foul play.
Leaning in, the president asks if the artist is only worried about his reputation and the potential difficulty of remarrying someone else.
Surprised by the word, the black-haired man notes he never thought about remarrying while looking intently at the artist's calm face.
Sipping his tea, a chibi Yanzi declares his only goal in this life is to cultivate and become a supreme master. A sharp thud sounds as the president suddenly slams the door, leaving the confused artist standing alone in the hallway.
Standing in silence, the gray-haired man looks down at the leaf still in his hand as he reflects on the brief exchange.
The artist pauses by the door, another sharp ka sound echoing as he remains lost in his own quiet thoughts. Jing takes the leaf while a dull thud sounds, leaving the two men in a moment of heavy, unspoken tension. Closing his eyes, the artist drifts into a serene state, seemingly untroubled by the president's moody and temperamental behavior.
Chibi voices announce the artist's sudden fame from a music video, while the manager mentions a vacancy on a popular variety show.
The man with glasses explains the variety show director forbids managers or assistants and asks if the artist is capable of going alone.
With a confident and gentle smile, Yanzi tells his manager that going to the show alone will be no problem.
Panic strikes the chibi manager as he stares at his tablet, realizing that a massive problem has just appeared on the hot search.
Sunlight bathes a luxury villa as a voice asks if the current controversy on the hot search is actually unfair.
The woman in the red dress mentions a planned video chat with her son, while the artist reminds himself to monitor the president's mood.
Noting the president is soft-hearted, his mother asks the artist to convince him to return home early from his work.
A video call connects as Jing answers his mother, who smiles brightly and tells him she has a surprise waiting.
A bright ding chime sounds as the video call reveals Yanzi standing stiffly behind the mother, much to the president's shock.
The president demands to know why the artist is at his house, while the mother playfully asks for an explanation from them.
Looking down, the artist solemnly thanks the benefactor for the reunion, though his words seem to carry a deeper, hidden meaning.
A sharp focus captures the artist's eye as he speaks the president's name, his voice steady and calm during the digital encounter.
The artist makes a cryptic comment about playing with the president, causing a wave of awkward silence to wash over everyone. Blushing with shock, the mother wonders if her son is actually the submissive one in the relationship after hearing the artist's bold words.
Dismissing it as a slip of the tongue, the artist tells the president he couldn't afford to hire him even if he wanted to.
Looking through the screen, the black-haired man asks the artist what he truly wants to say during this strange conversation.
With a light blush on his cheeks, the gray-haired artist tells the president to come back home early if he is busy.
The president stares at his phone. The artist's request that he return to a home where someone is waiting, lingering in his mind.
Placing his hand on a white mouse, the president utters a thoughtful while processing the artist's uncharacteristically warm invitation.
Jing looks at a smartphone displaying the trending topics, his gaze fixed on the controversial hot search regarding Yanzi.
The phone screen highlights the artist's name at the very top of the ranking list, marking him as the center of public attention.
Online comments accuse the artist of being lazy and disrespectful to elders, while a photo shows him crouching in a field.
Negative posts criticize the artist for resting while an elderly woman works, questioning his character and calling his behavior embarrassing.
A shocking news report claims the artist forcibly took money from customers, prompting outraged netizens to call for a criminal report.
An assistant enters the office to announce the start of a meeting, interrupting the president as he reviews the scandalous news.
The president orders his assistant to book the earliest flight back and to contact the director of the variety show immediately.
Night falls on the villa as the chibi artist tries to leave, but the president's mother insists he stay over for the night.
A soft top sound echoes through the hallway as a sliver of light from the doorway illuminates the quiet bedroom floor. While the artist sleeps, a small paper doll spirit rests near his head, watching over him in the darkness of the room. A quick ta sound comes from the light switch as the president enters the bedroom and finds the artist already in bed.
The black-haired man smiles with a teasing glint in his eyes as he watches the artist react to his sudden late-night arrival.
Yanzi Xiu explains the mother invited him and offers to leave immediately if his presence causes the president any inconvenience. Gripping his shirt, the president asks if the artist wants to leave because he is afraid he won't resist touching him again.
For the sake of the president's mother, Yanzi Xiu decides to drop the argument and walk away. Jing Shaoqi asks for a confession, but the artist questions why he is constantly suspected of having ulterior motives.
When the president asks why he tried so hard to marry him, Yanzi Xiu claims he has simply realized his mistake and moved on with the divorce.
The gray-haired man declares that being alive is the priority, and he won't let a short-lived ghost bother him anymore.
Chibi Jing Shaozi asks if he is picking a fight, while the artist explains their divorce is simply due to incompatibility.
The artist suddenly pauses and looks toward the doorway, sensing that someone else has just arrived at the room.
A firm, quick hand reaches out from the darkness to pull the other man closer.
A quick schwa movement sounds as the artist pulls the president onto the bed, whispering that his parents have arrived outside.
Laying close together, the black-haired man asks how the artist used to hug him to sleep in the past.
Jing Shaoqi tells the artist not to move as he pulls him into a protective and intimate embrace on the bed.
A close view captures the surprised and wide-eyed expression of the gray-haired artist as he is held close.
Outside, the mother suggests speaking quietly to avoid waking the pair, while the father agrees to the plan.
Peeking through the cracked door, the woman in white sees the two men in an intimate position on the bed. Both men stare intensely at each other as the mother watches them with a shocked and excited expression.
The chibi mother tells them to continue their business as she leaves, while the flustered president tries to object.
The scene shifts to the next morning as the sun begins to rise over the horizon.
Over breakfast, the mother notes that their relationship seems good, but observes that Yanzi Xiu looks troubled by recent news.
Reassuring the artist, the woman says the Jing family will always protect him, a statement that deeply touches the man.
A sudden sharp vomit sounds from the mother as a wave of severe nausea strikes her at the table.
Jing Shaoqi quickly moves to support his mother as her condition takes a sudden and painful turn.
Yanzi Xiu asks if she should see a doctor, but the president explains her symptoms haven't improved despite many consultations.
The gray-haired man looks away thoughtfully, processing the information about the mother's persistent and mysterious illness. The mother attempts to leave, but the artist offers her a drink and insists she try it despite her lack of appetite.
Jing Shaoqi takes the cup first and drinks to check the contents before giving it to his mother.
The mother takes a sip of the drink and looks surprised by the immediate soothing effect.
Delighted that her nausea has vanished, the woman asks about the milk, but the artist says it is just normal milk.
The woman happily takes the milk back to her room, leaving the two men alone at the table.
Yanzi Xiu explains that her morning sickness is severe and cannot be completely cured in an instant.
A close-up shows the black-haired president looking at the artist with a newfound sense of curiosity and suspicion.
The artist offers to swear a Tao oath not to ask for anything, but the president scoffs at the idea of divine punishment.
A quick shua sound accompanies the artist's challenge to call lightning before a repetitive ringing sounds from his phone.
Answering the call, the artist tells his manager he is at the Jing house, prompting a panicked warning not to return.
The gray-haired man listens seriously as his manager explains the danger of the current trending news scandal.
A chibi scene shows the manager yelling through the phone while the artist remains calm and unmoved.
When the manager asks if he is aware of the trending scandal, the artist simply confirms that he knows.
A sharp beep sounds as the chibi artist abruptly ends the conversation and hangs up the phone.
Turning back to the president, the artist asks if he can continue staying at the house for the rest of the day.
Jing Shaoqi mockingly says he will let him stay if he can actually summon lightning to strike his head.
Chibi Yanzi Xiu prepares a spell, vowing to give the arrogant president a taste of static electricity instead.
The black-haired man stands in total shock as static electricity makes his hair stand straight up.
A series of shocks strike the chibi president as he touches things, making him wonder if he is leaking electricity.
At night, Yanzi Xiu sits alone on a large couch, illuminated by the glow of a dark screen.
Jing Shaozi sits beside him, claiming his father sent him for company, which the artist questions as a form of punishment.
Looking curious, the artist asks why his father would want to punish him by forcing them together.
The president asks if being with him is considered a punishment, and the artist bluntly confirms that it is.
Jing Shaozi smiles, privately believing that the artist's cold behavior is just a different way to get his attention. The gray-haired man reminds Mr. Jing that they are already divorced, while a character on the TV declares the same to a girl. They watch a drama where a man pins a woman to the wall, asking why she has the right to question him. The screen character declares his love, causing both men to watch the digital encounter in silent contemplation. A natural sounds as the woman on screen reacts to a kiss while calling him a jerk and questioning his love. The gray-haired and black-haired men sit in silence on the couch after the movie ends.
In a chibi scene, Jing Shaoqi says the movie is just a movie, and they will never remarry, while Yanzi Tsu wonders if he thinks he is a reward and suggests a money transfer instead.
Standing up to leave, the gray-haired man tells the other to look for himself before walking away. As Yanzi Tsu leaves, the black-haired president asks him how much longer he can live. Turning back, the artist notes his lifespan appears short and mentions needing more information to see the exact time. A flustered chibi artist explains predicting lifespans is difficult, mentioning he once saw him as dead but now isn't sure of the exact number. Walking away, the gray-haired man declares that heavenly secrets must never be revealed. Morning shines on the villa as the mother calls for Shushu because the show is starting. Sitting with the artist, the mother vows to sue over malicious editing while the black-haired man tries to look casual as he passes by.
The television broadcast shows Yanzi Tsu being told to take a break after working under the hot sun for hours.
On the screen, an elderly man offers to take over the rest of the farm work.
The show captures the artist picking herbs and suggesting they be used to help the elderly folks sleep well.
Watching the negative comments on screen, the mother questions the claims of laziness while the president advises ignoring opinions and the artist mentions his strong fist. Chibi mother asks what is happening in the footage, and the gray-haired man tells her she will find out if she keeps watching. The scene reveals an elderly woman thanking Yanzi Tsu for his help with the pigs before he washes up. A chibi mother looks absolutely delighted while watching the truth of the artist's hard work finally unfold. While the pair criticizes annoying marketing accounts, the mother asks why Jing Shaoqi is standing there, causing him to regret speaking up. Holding his phone, the black-haired man claims he is fine standing and needs to reply to an email. Online comments shift to praising the artist for his handsome appearance and hardworking nature during the rice-cutting segment. A close-up captures a small, satisfied smile on the black-haired man's face as he reads the positive feedback. Chibi Jing Shaoqi supervises the program team on site, ensuring they do not dare cut any footage of the artist. Night deepens over the quiet villa where lights still burn in Yanzi Tsu's bedroom. Sitting on the edge of the bed, the gray-haired man uses a needle to treat the injuries on his hand. A close view reveals numerous dark blisters covering the man's palms from his intense labor in the fields. The mother holds the artist's hand, worrying that he doesn't take care of himself, though he insists he is fine. Seeing her son's lack of reaction to the injuries, the mother demands he give the artist a massage.
Both men look surprised by the request, with the artist declining and the president questioning the refusal.
Moving toward the couch, the black-haired man looms over the artist in the quiet, sunlit room. Grasping the other man's hand, the president declares that as his husband, he should take good care of him. Despite the artist's shock, the black-haired man firmly tells him not to move while holding his hand. The gray-haired man asks him to let go, but the president simply hums and insists on giving him a good massage. Chibi Yanzi Tsu tells him to let go quickly, but the chibi president refuses to release his grip. A sudden sharp oops sounds from the mother, who wonders why the hardworking artist encountered more trouble. Flashback footage shows a man in a red shirt aggressively grabbing the artist and asking why he is nervous. Yanzi Tsu exposes a counterfeit bill intended for an elderly woman and catches the man as he tries to run away.
The angry man tells the artist to mind his own business while throwing a punch at him.
Chibi Jing Shaoqi protectively grabs the artist's arm while the mother asks why he is so startled. The mother asks if he is hurt, and the artist explains the police took the man away, leading her to hope he stays in jail. In a chibi scene, the artist wonders what the president is doing while the mother asks if her son is being punished to stand. Blushing with embarrassment, the black-haired man claims he is just moving around and still has work to do. On his phone, the president orders the legal department to sue everyone spreading rumors about Yanzi Tsu. A sharp, quick snap sounds as the president ends the call while standing in the sunlit hallway. Looking thoughtful, the black-haired man privately notes that the artist does not seem that annoying after all. He reflects on whether his view of the man was too one-sided, though he remains hesitant about his feelings. Chibi Jing Shaoqi feels frustrated that the artist, who used to talk nonsense, is now silent despite being wronged. Fresh from a shower, the black-haired man enters the bedroom with a towel around his neck and a robe on. The president mentions leaving tomorrow, and the artist tells him to turn off the lights and go to sleep. A soft click sounds as the man reaches out his hand to turn off the bedside lamp. Before the lights go out, the president asks if the artist can tell if his mother is expecting a brother or sister. Gesturing with his hand, the artist confirms it is a little boy who will be very filial in the future. The black-haired man offers a soft word of gratitude as he gazes ahead thoughtfully. Looking away, the gray-haired man reflects on the difficulty of facing a limited lifespan. When the artist mentions a way to check his life, the president asks about the method. After explaining bone reading, a chibi scene shows the artist worrying about potential misunderstandings. Removing his robe, the black-haired man grants permission for the artist to touch him. A flustered chibi Yanzi Tsu instructs the shirtless man to lie face down on the bed. In the dimly lit room, the artist begins the bone reading process on the man's back. While touching him, the gray-haired man privately notes how uncomfortable it feels to read his bones. He continues the assessment, feeling the tension across the man's bare shoulders and neck.
The artist asks him to relax so he can reach the destiny bones, prompting a soft hum.
As hands move across his skin, a soft sound escapes from the black-haired man. Finding nothing on his back, the gray-haired man asks the other to turn over.
Looking down at the shirtless man, the artist worries that being stared at makes touching weirder.
With a slight blush, the gray-haired man tells the president to close his eyes.
He notes the man's extraordinary fortune and wonders what would happen if they co-cultivated together.
A warm vision shows the black-haired man embracing the artist in a gentle, intimate light.
Snapping back to reality, a blushing chibi artist wonders what on earth he was just thinking.
Opening his eyes, the president asks if the artist has finally found what he was looking for.
The gray-haired man denies finding it and prepares to continue his thorough search.
Moving his hands lower, a panicked chibi artist wonders exactly where the destiny bone is located.
He hesitates while reaching toward the man's waistband, feeling a deep sense of internal conflict.
After searching everywhere, the artist realizes with a bad feeling that there is no destiny bone.
A chibi scene shows both men confused as the artist looks toward the man's lower body. Flustered, the gray-haired man claims his skills are currently unrefined and ends the session.
A simple suggestion to finally sleep follows as the awkward encounter comes to an end.
Both men sit on the bed in silence, the tension between them still hanging in the air.
Tucking himself in, the artist decides they should meet less frequently to avoid more entanglement.
A new morning begins as the sun rises over the lush trees surrounding the villa.
Deciding the house is unsuitable, the artist begins packing his suitcase to leave immediately. His manager calls with news that reporters are surrounding his home, insisting he stay with Mr. Jing.
After being told to treat it as a vacation, the artist wonders if they are being haunted.
While eating, the gray-haired man contemplates finding a remote mountain to live in seclusion.
The mother enters and suggests the pair go swimming on the top floor after lunch.
Watching the president, the artist assumes the man will likely refuse his mother's suggestion. In a chibi scene, the president ignores the prompt while the artist looks on in disbelief.
Despite the artist's shock, the mother happily mentions she already has swim trunks ready for them.
A sudden splash echoes as the gray-haired man sits by the edge of the crystal clear pool.
Gliding through the water, the black-haired man reaches up and firmly grabs the artist's leg. Surfacing from the depths, the president tells the startled artist to join him in the pool.
The gray-haired man refuses the invitation and tells the other to simply swim by himself.
When the president offers lessons, the artist tells him to have self-respect and let go.
Looking determined, the black-haired man says they can leave once the artist swims a single lap.
The artist stands by the pool, hoping the president will actually keep his word this time.
Watching the other swim, the narrative notes that the original Yanzi never learned to swim. A hazy memory shows a young boy nearly drowning in the waves at the seaside. Since that incident, he feared water, once even refusing a magazine shoot that required being underwater.
The president watches suspiciously, wondering how someone could suddenly overcome a decade-long phobia so quickly.
He privately questions whether the man has truly changed enough to accept what he couldn't before. Emerging from the pool, the artist pulls himself up the ladder as water drips from him. Standing behind him, the black-haired man watches the artist with a deep, contemplative expression.
Jing Shaozi and Yanzi share a close, silent moment in the crystal-clear pool.
Chibi Jing Shaoqi calls them soulmates while the flustered artist demands he let go.
Chibi Yanzi angrily decides to pack his things and leave the unsuitable villa. Remaining in the water, the black-haired man watches the artist depart with a silent, contemplative look. Dressed in a robe, he reflects that subconscious reactions prove the man is not acting. While drying his hair, the president concludes his new speculation about the artist is correct. Carrying a gray suitcase, Yanzi prepares to leave the sunlit hallway of the villa.
The artist pauses, looking ahead with a calm expression as he prepares for his departure.
He encounters the gray-haired elder in the hallway, stopping to acknowledge the man's presence.
The elder asks if he is returning home and notes how different he seems now. A flashback reveals a rainy night car accident that occurred 26 years ago.
Yanzi's father is shown rescuing a woman from a car during that stormy night. The elder explains he raised the artist to repay the debt to his heroic parents. He mentions the artist's past manipulation to marry into the family, which caused their long silence. Looking down, the gray-haired man quietly says he has finally come to terms with things. The artist's hands grip a white teacup tightly as the conversation with the elder continues.
The elder grants permission to leave, promising the Jing family will always protect him.
A heavy silence follows as the artist stands thoughtfully in the brightly lit room. Offering a polite and respectful bow, the gray-haired man prepares to take his leave. The elder asks his housekeeper where Jing Shaozi is and why he has not arrived.
The housekeeper explains that Mr. Jing went out and will return to find him later.
The scene transitions to the imposing, modern exterior of a large city hospital building. A doctor explains that the friend likely has a second personality emerging from schizophrenia.
The man in the white coat warns that the patient is currently in a dangerous state.
Jing Shaoqi listens intently, hearing that a detailed examination is required for a confirmed diagnosis. The black-haired man agrees to bring the patient over for testing as soon as possible.
Back at the villa, the president sits with his father in the spacious living room.
Looking over his shoulder, the father asks if he still dislikes the artist so much. The president explains that the artist has not truly changed, but is actually quite ill.
Surprised by the claim, the father asks what kind of illness the man has.
Jing Shaoqi looks down, seemingly troubled by the heavy diagnosis he recently received.
Chibi Jing Shaoqi talks endlessly to his father, who looks completely overwhelmed by the information. Dressed in glasses and a light blue shirt, the manager happily pets a large dog. A thought bubble from Yanzi asks if his stay has been comfortable lately. Sitting on the couch, the artist thanks the manager for accommodating him at his home.
The manager announces his new role as exclusive agent and suggests they work toward brilliance together.
He asks if the artist had a small disagreement with manager Jing recently. The gray-haired man dismisses the topic, stating he will not argue over trivial matters. Chibi manager decides to let the couple's quarrels be as a phone starts ringing nearby. Covering his ears, the chibi artist tries to ignore the loud, persistent ringing of the phone. The artist finally answers the call, asking the caller if something is wrong.
The president tells him he is downstairs and asks for an immediate meeting.
Claiming he is busy, the artist tells him to speak now or he will hang up. The president announces plans to invest in a farmer's market and road repairs for the village.
Chibi Jing Shaoqi sits smugly atop a pile of money, showcasing his immense financial power. A blushing chibi artist gazes at his phone with sparkling eyes and a tiny heart.
Closing his eyes with a smile, the president promises to provide whatever equipment the village needs. He asks once more if the artist can come down and meet him in person.
They walk through a store together as a clerk mentions delivering products to a specified address. The artist questions the real purpose behind the sudden dinner invitation and gift of clothes. The black-haired man in the suit tells the artist that if he is too busy, he will simply find someone else for the task. Insisting he can handle it, the gray-haired man agrees to the job while a chibi scene shows him as a splashing mermaid. They arrive at a hallway where the artist asks if this is the hospital, and the president confirms they have arrived.
Looking around the empty, quiet hallway, the gray-haired man notes that the small hospital seems advanced but oddly devoid of any patients.
Wondering if the place is haunted, the artist turns to the president and assures him there are no signs of evil spirits. The black-haired man looks back at his companion in the sterile, brightly lit hospital corridor. They meet a doctor in a white coat, and the gray-haired man politely introduces himself as Yanzi. The doctor welcomes him warmly and invites the artist to take a seat for their meeting. Labeled as a mental health specialist, the doctor asks the artist if he has recently dealt with irritability, insomnia, or any hallucinations. Denying the symptoms, the ghost-catching expert turns the questioning around, asking if the doctor has noticed anything unusual at the facility at night. In a chibi scene, the artist wonders why he is being questioned first, while the narration describes this as a mutual diagnosis to check for delusions. After the doctor denies seeing anything, he asks if the artist's body ever feels heavy or if he hears the sound of crying. Confused by the specific supernatural questions, the gray-haired man admits to those feelings, unaware of the doctor's true intentions.
Watching the doctor closely, the artist realizes with a frown that the man in the white coat is clearly lying to him.
The gray-haired man asks to be taken to the specific location where the dirty things appear so he can make a proper judgment.
Leading him to a room, the doctor introduces 3 assistants who are supposedly there just to clean the medical instruments.
From his perspective, the artist watches the doctor smile and senses that this group is definitely up to no good. The 3 assistants in white coats look down with stern expressions as tension builds in the sterile room. Suddenly, the doctor orders his team to grab him, and the artist is quickly restrained by the assistants. While being held, the artist asks why Jing Shaozi brought him here, and the doctor claims the president is simply concerned for his well-being. Looking up with a shocked expression, the gray-haired man wonders if the president actually believes that he is crazy. The doctor tells him to calm down and promises they will discuss everything once the results of the examination are in. Refusing to cooperate, the artist warns them to let him go immediately, or they will surely regret their actions.
A close-up shows the gray-haired man's intense, determined gaze as he prepares to deal with the situation.
An assistant tells him not to be afraid as they move him toward a potted medical bed equipped with heavy restraint straps. The gray-haired man stands between the assistants, his expression darkening as he prepares to reveal his true power. A dark, shadowy figure appears over the assistant's shoulder, whispering a chilling laugh and telling them to let him go.
The assistant is frozen in terror as two hollow-eyed, shadowy ghosts manifest directly in front of him. More ghoulish figures emerge from the darkness, their terrifying forms towering over the trembling medical staff. Panicked by the supernatural manifestations, the assistant screams about monsters while a pale ghost looms right behind him. The terrified man collapses to the floor, desperately trying to scramble away as the ghosts close in on him. A creepy, stitched-up spirit creature cackles as a series of screams echo, and the president wonders what is happening with Yanzi. Outside the room, the black-haired man curses and struggles with a door that refuses to open, his worry visibly growing. The silence is broken by a quick click as the door opens, revealing the artist standing calmly with a small spirit doll perched on his shoulder.
As the president asks if he is all right, the artist firmly states they should avoid seeing each other again unless it is a matter of life or death. The story shifts to 3 months later, showing a vast snow-covered mountain range under a pale blue sky.
Inside a car, the gray-haired man is dressed in elaborate traditional armor, using a cloth to wipe blood from a wound on his cheek. His manager notes the tight schedule of fight scenes and asks about the artist's wrist pain, but Yanzi dismisses the concern.
In a chibi scene, the manager fusses over him, and the manager fusses over him and reminds him to use medicine at night while the artist simply agrees.
Resting his hand on a surface, the artist's skin suddenly reacts with a sharp, burning sensation that forces out a quick hiss.
Noticing the reaction, the manager asks if his wrist is starting to hurt him again.
The gray-haired man wonders why his skin is burning despite not brushing against any open wounds or injuries.
A minimalist transition shows blue graphic lines against a light background, marking a shift in the evening's events.
Later that night, the artist sits on his hotel bed in a meditative pose, surrounded by the quiet of his room.
A sharp close-up shows the artist's eyes snapping wide open as a sudden realization hits him.
He notes the burning has returned, feeling as though something is physically scraping and pulling at his fingers.
Looking at his hand with glowing blue eyes, the artist discovers a thin red Mi-hun line wrapped around his fingers.
Looking at his feet, he realizes the presence of the line explains why Jing Shaoxi's soul originally disappeared.
Throwing on a white coat, the artist runs through the snowy night, concluding the soul was forcibly taken by the original owner and others.
With a look of grim determination, the gray-haired man realizes that the person who used sorcery in the past is currently nearby.
A sharp, rhythmic knock sounds against the door of a hotel room on a bright morning. The black-haired manager calls out for the artist to wake up and join him for breakfast.
Receiving no answer, he wonders if the man is still asleep despite his usual early shooting schedule. He uses a keycard to enter the room, only to find the living space completely deserted.
Noticing it is already noon on his phone, the manager becomes increasingly distressed about the disappearance.
Convinced something is wrong, he decides to call for help as the scene shifts to the president.
A cell phone resting on a table displays a contact list with the artist's name at the very top.
A chibi version of the president is startled by the sudden, intense ringing and vibration of his phone.
Answering the call, the black-haired man is visibly shocked to learn that Yanzi has gone missing. The manager explains that the crew reported it to the police and searched for 4 weeks without success.
He continues the report, noting that the police have managed to obtain and review local surveillance footage. The president deduces the artist went to the mountains as a soldier prepares a search team for departure.
Determined to help, the black-haired man insists on joining the search party immediately despite the risks.
The camouflage-clad man advises the president to stay at the hotel and wait for their notification.
In a chibi scene, staff members struggle to restrain the panicked president to keep him from reckless actions.
The soldier warns him that he might run out of energy and become a burden during the trek.
Holding up a hand, the president firmly promises that he will not slow the team down at all.
He orders the team to depart, and the scene shifts to the dark, snow-dusted mountain peaks.
A search party in bright orange parkas treks through the snow as a leader calls for rest.
Equipped with a headlamp and heavy gear, the president remains focused on the grim task at hand.
He worries about the time that has passed, knowing every minute increases the danger for the missing man.
One of the searchers pauses to address the president as they continue through the freezing night.
The black-haired man remains silent, his expression heavy with worry and determination as the snow falls. Recognizing the exhaustion of the group, he finally agrees to set up camp for the night.
Several dark green tents are pitched around a small, flickering campfire in the middle of the snowy forest.
Sitting inside a dim tent, the president stares into the distance and wonders where the artist is. Tossing and turning in a sleeping bag, the black-haired man finds it impossible to rest his mind.
His attention is caught by a sudden hiss as he feels a sharp, localized sensation of feet.
Checking his gloved hands, he wonders if the sensation was just an illusion since nothing is there.
Close up on the president's intense gaze as he whispers the artist's name, sensing his presence nearby.
Outside the tent, a searcher asks the president if he happened to hear any unusual sounds just now. The black-haired man looks out into the quiet, snowy landscape with a look of deep concern.
He admits that he heard nothing at all, standing motionless in the center of the camp.
A hand reaches out to comfort him as a phantom image of the artist's hand appears nearby.
The searcher suggests he go back to the hotel to rest and resume the search the next day.
Looking down with a somber expression, the president simply gives a quiet, reluctant agreement to the plan.
He begins to pack his equipment, but his hand pauses as his intuition tells him otherwise.
He insists to himself that it was not an illusion and that he can actually feel the artist. Holding a signed waiver, he acknowledges the danger of searching alone, but decides he must go anyway.
The president treks off alone into the deep blue shadows of the mountain, guided only by his headlamp.
Nearby, a small fire crackles beneath a spit where a small animal is being roasted for a meal.
Dressed in a light jacket, the gray-haired artist sits peacefully by the fire, warming his hands.
Hearing approaching footsteps, the artist looks up sharply and demands to know who is approaching his camp.
He is stunned to see the president standing before him, looking worn out and flushed from the cold.
Furiously removing his hat, the president yells at the artist for casually climbing the mountain without permission.
He suddenly pulls the artist into a desperate, crushing hug and asks him if he is completely stupid.
Shouting for him to speak, the president vents his anger while a chibi artist reflects on the situation. The artist notes the man's rare temper while the president claims he was merely looking for a dog.
The gray-haired man points out the absurdity of the claim while a chibi scene shows him calming the president.
The black-haired man asks why he came alone, and the artist explains he is searching for something specific.
The black-haired man yells, demanding to know what could possibly be more important than his life.
Looking directly at him, the gray-haired man shouts that his life is what matters most.
The artist reflects that once the spirit is found, he will return it secretly to avoid further argument.
Standing in the falling snow, Jing Shaoqi offers a quiet apology while Yanzi Su remains silent.
Jing Shaoqi looks down and suggests they should begin their descent from the mountain.
As the president turns to leave, the gray-haired man reaches out and catches his hand.
Yanzi decides to lend his spiritual eyes so the president can finally see the truth.
Turning to face him, the artist bluntly orders the black-haired man to kiss his eyes.
Jing Shaoqi blushes, suggesting they wait until they descend, but the artist insists it be done now.
His face flushed with a mix of anger and embarrassment, Yanzi Shu demands the kiss happen immediately. A faint, gentle smile touches the black-haired man's face as he looks at the artist.
The artist considers that perhaps the president has truly cared for him throughout the past years.
Holding hands tightly, the artist notes the man's obsession remains even after his supposed mental breakdown.
In a chibi scene, the artist suddenly stops the kiss, shouting for the president to wait.
Crying comically, the chibi artist prays to his master for forgiveness for associating with an evil path.
Returning to his usual composure, the artist tells the black-haired man that they may proceed.
Yanzi Shu asks why the man's eyes are so red and excited over a simple kiss.
The two men stand close together in the snowy landscape, preparing for the spiritual transfer.
Jing Shaoqi leans down to deliver the kiss as the scene focuses on their quiet intimacy.
Startled, the president clutches his forehead and wonders why his vision has suddenly become so blurry.
Yanzi explains that the disorientation is because he has lent him the eye of psychic power.
Looking deep into his eyes, the artist asks the president if he knows why his life is short.
Pointing out the red thread, the artist reveals the president is currently lacking a complete soul.
Sitting by the campfire, Jing Shaoqi realizes the artist was never actually insane as he had believed.
The artist decides to let the past go, noting the president's bravery in coming to save him. Yanzi vows that they will definitely eliminate anyone who dares to practice such dark arts.
His expression turns sharp as he senses the soul-dispelling thread has been activated by someone nearby.
Yanzi prepares to hunt the practitioner, and the president insists on going together to the northwest.
A wide view of the dark, jagged mountain peaks is interrupted by a sudden call to wait.
The gray-haired man extends his arm to block the president's path as they trek through the snow.
Focus shifts to the artist's hands as he prepares a spiritual technique for their protection.
Sensing deep danger, the artist orders the president to stay behind while he pursues the dark energy.
Jing Shaoqi tells him to be careful, and the artist promises he will return to him soon.
Yanzi notes the strengthening yang energy and the loss of connection with his exploration paper person.
Looking at the frozen landscape, the artist concludes that a soul-sealing array has been established here. He realizes the concentrated energy is being used to cultivate malevolent spirits rather than just capturing ghosts.
A vision of the 9 luminaries emperor reveals that someone is forcefully seizing Jing Shaoqi's original souls.
The artist concludes that cultivating such a spirit would bring an unstoppable calamity upon the entire world. Standing alone in the shadows of the peaks, the artist prepares to confront the hidden enemy.
A close-up shows the artist's feet firmly planted in the deep, powdery snow.
Casting a powerful decree, the artist unleashes a spiritual symbol to defy the hidden dark forces. The ground begins to shake violently as the spiritual energy ripples through the snowy mountain pass.
Yanzi Shu stands in the center of the path, his gaze scanning the area for any reaction.
He realizes something is wrong, wondering how a complex formation could have been broken so easily.
Looking up in horror, the artist shouts a warning as a massive avalanche begins to roar down.
A wall of snow and ice explodes forward, threatening to bury everything in its path.
Jing Shaoqi suddenly grabs the artist, yelling for him to run as they flee the falling debris.
As they scramble for safety, the artist looks up with a terrified expression at the massive rocks falling.
Jing Shaoqi shields the artist with his own body as his breath is stolen by a heavy thud.
Stunned, the artist realizes that Jing Shaoqi has actually sacrificed his own safety to save him.
An urgent command to run sounds as boots scramble through the deep snow.
The black-haired man in the orange parka determines that he will let the artist escape.
The artist prepares a universe-reversing spell while the president asks what he is doing.
The gray-haired man forcefully pushes the president away to save him from the disaster.
Launched away by spiritual energy, the president watches the artist stay behind in the snow. Standing alone, the artist reflects on the bonds he has formed beyond his masters.
Yanzi Xiu remains calm as the mountain peaks begin to crumble into a massive avalanche. Jing Shaoqi calls out in despair as the artist is buried under a roar of slough.
The search party realizes with horror that they have lost track of the missing men.
The leader orders an immediate descent, citing the extreme danger of the collapsing West Peak.
The searchers try to remain hopeful and ward off bad luck while discussing the pair.
One of the men suddenly spots a figure and alerts the captain to look quickly.
Jing Shaoqi wanders back toward the peak, repeating the artist's name in a daze.
A searcher warns the president that he cannot go back up into the dangerous avalanche.
The team shouts for someone to grab the president before he puts himself in danger.
Jing Shaoqi struggles against his rescuers, insisting he must find the missing artist.
A searcher points out a body rolling down the snowy slope in the distance.
Yanzi Shu lies motionless in the snow, his eyes closed in a deep sleep.
Close up on the artist's face as he remains unconscious in the wake of the disaster.
Spotting the fallen man, the president breaks free and shouts for the team to stop. Jing Shaoqi cradles the artist, who weakly whispers the president's name before losing consciousness again.
The black-haired man holds the artist close, relieved to have finally found him alive.
Yanzi Xiu rests against the president, appearing fragile after the trial on the mountain.
In the hospital, the doctor assures the president that the artist is only physically exhausted.
The president angrily questions why the artist hasn't woken up despite the normal test results.
In a chibi scene, the doctor worries about the president's cold intensity and high expectations. A soft groan marks the moment the gray-haired artist finally begins to wake up. A chibi president looks on with a stern expression, waiting for his companion to stir.
The president enters the room just as the artist wakes, much to the doctor's surprise.
In a chibi scene, the doctor wonders how he missed the patient regaining consciousness. The president asks about any pain, but the artist insists on handling himself. A heavy silence fills the hospital room as the artist takes a drink of water.
Yanzi Xiu notices the president's sling and learns he suffered a fracture on the mountain.
Jing Shaoqi asks why he stayed, mentioning his parents' concern and hospital visits. Focus on the white sling supporting the president's injured arm in the hospital room.
The artist explains his spiritual limits and tries to downplay his sacrifice as no big deal. The president warns him never to make a habit of such dangerous sacrifices again.
Days later, a black-haired woman welcomes the artist, promising him a hearty recovery meal.
The woman suggests that Yanzi Xiu must now care for the injured president. Reading a recovery manual, the chibi woman lists the many chores the artist should perform.
Jing Shaoqi interrupts his mother, assuring her that the artist is well aware of his needs. The pregnant woman smiles warmly as she leaves the two men alone in the room.
The artist suggests they stop indulging the mother and focus on his own recovery instead.
The president calls him out on a lie, and the artist admits he misspoke.
Yanzi Xiu admits he is merely low on energy and wonders how to restore it. Jing Shaoqi touches his arm, promising to help him find a way to recover soon.
He reminds the artist of a previous claim about swallowing essence to regain power.
The president asks what that essence is, offering to help replenish his spiritual reserves.
Yanzi Xiu explains it is Moonlight essence, noticing the president's sudden, intense blush.
A teacher explains that Moonlight essence is spiritual energy harvested during a full moon.
Jing Shaoqi asks the artist if he would rather have his parents misunderstand him than let the president misunderstand him.
Looking puzzled, Yanzi Xiu asks what possible misunderstanding there could be between their parents.
In a chibi scene, Jing Shaoqi huffs that it's nothing and storms off, while Yanzi Xiu suggests clarifying things in the future. The artist stands alone, questioning why the situation is so inexplicable.